Welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Steve Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to talk about the various issues that life throws our way and do our best to make some comic book issues. Most recently, we've been working on a kind of supernatural fantasy action comedy book that I still, Steven, don't have a great pitch for. Like I'm getting it. I'm getting better at it, but I don't have a sweet elevator pitch for Deathless. But we learned that, and we've been tweaking it a little bit, and we learned that this week because Steven, where did we go this week?
We went to Southwest Florida Comic Con.
Yes, we did. We had a table at a comic convention. This was like our, I don't know, how many have we done now, Steven? Like 4
or 5, I think, because I think usually we do 2 or 3 a year now, and it's been 2 years now, right?
Yeah, we've done so many of these now that we know everything there is to know about these, and we're going to give everyone who goes to conventions or to tables at conventions the best tips that you could possibly have. We're going to call it conventional wisdom. We're gonna get there. Ooh. That's gonna be our like our first segment. We're gonna jump into. We have a few segments, Steven. I'm gonna do this thing that people do on the YouTube and on the podcast where like you hint at stuff and you're like, this is what's coming, like next time on We Have Issues, but it's like this time, but like
just a little bit of fish food at the top.
Yeah, I gotta fish food it. I gotta fish, like, not that you're fish. If you were a fish, what kind of fish would you be, Steven? What kind of fish would you be?
If I was a fish, I'd be a Goliath grouper.
I like that.
Or tarpon. They're huge and powerful animals. Ooh, a tuna, but then people would fish for me to make delicious sushi.
So this week, Steven, I'd like to talk about our convention trip. I'd like to talk about like some like how you handle dark times in your minds, like dark mind times. And I'd also like to talk about, Steven, I don't know if have you ever seen the movie Mac and Me?
No, but I know about it. It's a robot and a kid, right?
It's let's say yes. It's not, but let's say yes.
It's like one of those like speak and spell things. No, it's an alien and a kid.
We'll get to this. We'll get to Mac and Me because I can't wait to hear what Steven's Mac and Me is. We're also gonna talk about our movie plans because next week we have a live show, Steven, which, by the way, I have not thought about even once. Like we announced it, we talked about, like, we planned it, did the thing. We were like, oh yeah, here we go. Like, we got producer Sean to help us out. He's doing all the awesome behind the scenes work, and I have not given it one thought after that. I've like completely left like I took it from my brain. I was like, oh, this is gonna bother me, and I just put it somewhere else. And now I'm like, now it's back. It's like it's found. It's like,
and since I am dead, I can take off my head.
And avoid my responsibilities. That's it's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I don't want to be anxious about it because what we're going to be doing on our live show, which is only our second ever attempt at doing a live show, is we're going to have an episode of this show that you're watching right now, but we're also going to do a live script reading with a full cast of our short film Stakeout that we're going to be filming, or hope I'm going to stay positive and confident and optimistic about this. We are filming it next year. So we're going to do a live table read of Stakeout that we're going to film next year. And I am nervous about it, Steven. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to get to that. So first, let's tell people a little bit about the convention. So what was your experience like this week?
So the convention was amazing. Our boy Edwin, he produces Lost Between Worlds, a wonderful comic, by the way. You should definitely go check that out. Edwin came because he lives in, he doesn't live too far from us. He was doing that convention too, and him and his wonderful wife and child stayed with us the night before, and then we all went to the convention. It felt like they either one, it was lighter fare, not as many, or two, they really did a good job at spacing things this time around, because it felt like the flow was just so much cleaner with people walking in and out, and it was just it was a good experience this time.
Yeah, it was nice this time. So we go to this convention at a hotel, and the last few times it has been pretty cramped. Sometimes that works for us, Steven, because I've noticed, we pointed out, because what happens is as they usher people through, they get trapped at our booth, and sometimes that's not great, and sometimes it helps us sell books. Sometimes someone will be there and we're like, oh, captive audience, let me like try to figure out what this book is about and which one.
Step right up, let me tell you now. There's a man, he has this group of friends, and like they cast this spell. It's a weird spell. It's been going on for years.
Yeah, so
Give him enough
we
time
basically,
to spit it out.
I think the thing is we can do numerous takes if people are stuck at the table. So I'm like,
Yes.
ha, take 3, baby. You're gonna like this book by take 7, I promise. Or it's gonna be like a Stockholm syndrome situation. You're gonna love us by the time you're forced to get out of here.
You'll be licking cheese dust off our fingers in no time.
At the very least, like people are buying a book to shut us up so they can just stand there in front of our table in peace.
How much is your book? Well, you can buy this one for much cheaper than okay, just give me that one.
Just give me that one. But this time it wasn't really like that. This time it was kind of like a casual, like people were coming and going of their own, discretion whenever they wanted. There wasn't as much traffic. So it was more deliberate traffic, which was kind of cool because we met a lot of people who were just really interested in what we were doing. A lot of people who, some of them are probably watching the show right now. It's pretty cool, that people are out there. So you also
shout out to Alex if you're watching.
Yeah, shout out to Alex. Hey, yeah, there are a bunch of people that were like seemed interested in the podcast, which is kind of fun for us because we get to sell like the comics and the prints and be like, hey, we also have these this podcast we do, and like we have something for some people. But Stephen, it was a fun time. I got to meet the writer and director of Friday the 13th Part 6, which was really cool. I got to talk to him for a while about like his life and like the story of like how he got the job of doing that. And I was just like, I'm inspired to do stuff, like I love this. And he's like, good luck with your movie. And I was like, I'm gonna write, I'm gonna tell everyone about that on social media, and no one's gonna care. But it's really cool. I love having those opportunities to talk to people. And like of all of the people who have directed Friday the 13th movies, he's the only one I would really want to talk to be honest with you. Like most of those movies they're all fun, but that was the only one that like felt directorially like there was something special there. Like if you ever watch it, the intro to it does like a James Bond, like Jason has it goes
that's awesome.
It goes into Jason's eye and it becomes a plain black circle, and Jason walks into the black circle and slashes like James Bond would shoot. It's so cool and so weird and like unlike anything else in that whole series. So I was like, I can't wait to talk to this guy. Like
this guy's amazing.
Yeah, like what made him do that? So anyway, it was pretty cool. But dude, I think we had a really good day. We sold a lot of books. We talked to a lot of people. It felt really good. Do you think you learned anything from this one?
People love horror stickers at these conventions.
Yes, they do. So we learned. So first of all, people love free stuff. We know that. We learned that in our first convention. We were like, let's give away free stickers. Here we go. And we had a bunch at the time, so we gave them away. This time, we were running low on our stickers, but I found this just treasure trove of horror stickers that I got from an ex-girlfriend. And I was like, I can give these away because I don't want them in my life. And I was like, even though they're all awesome. And I was like, but it feels weird. It feels weird, Steven. There are only certain things from exes that I can like let linger. Otherwise, it feels like dirty. Like it feels like there's some kind of like spell going on. It's like I don't know. It's like, what is that? Like I don't know what that is. Like I don't know how that works. I don't know what the rules are there. Like
it's just like you look at the item and it's just constantly singing "I put a spell on you" from Hocus Pocus, and you're just like,
yeah,
do I need this?
Yeah, it's that whole thing. But who's that? The Marie Kondo, or I forget her name, Mary Kondo. But like, yeah, if you don't, I don't need it in my life. It has like this weird dark energy, like that. Get out of here. But all those stickers, and we got rid of most of them, but we were even selling them, which is really funny and probably illegal. But
maybe
it's
a gray area.
I
didn't even know what to. I was like 3 for $1. I don't know what these are worth. These literally wasn't here.
It was so funny. It's like someone was like, how much are these stickers? And I was like, well, you can get them for free if you buy one of our books. And they're like, yeah, but how much are the stickers? I'm like, okay, $1 million. I don't
really don't want this book. Okay. I guess this.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
But good news, by the way, on the sticker front.
Yeah.
Temu finally got me. They hooked me in, and I needed some stocking stuffers anyway. So I bought a bunch of cool like croc charms and things like that through Temu. But they also had like a lot of like 100-piece and 50-piece and 150-piece sticker packs. So I bought, I think, 2 horror ones because I learned that the horror ones were good. So that way we have stickers for the next con.
Oh, that's awesome.
Rope them in to pull them in.
So Steven, we're at the convention, and like first thing in the morning, I got there really early. I got there like 17 hours before you got there. I was there. I was setting everything up. I was prepared. I was like, worried about the parking situation. I showed up and I went, and I was like, I have to pee, because naturally, it's like you have to pee. So I go to the bathroom, right? And I'm telling the story for a reason. I need everyone to hear this. So I go to the bathroom, and the bathrooms look great. It's like they're remodeling the whole like hotel. Everything's like starting to look, it looks nice in there. Nothing wrong with the bathrooms. Everything's working and functioning. Stephen, later on in the day, I'm hanging out with you. I was like, I have to go to the bathroom again, and I walk to the bathrooms, and there are people using the bathrooms, and I'm like, oh man, I have to go to. I'm gonna go to this last stall because no one's in that one. And I turn the corner, Stephen, in the toilet that's supposed to be affixed to the wall, the toilet that's supposed to be that's, that's bolted to the wall is on the floor, just awkwardly.
Can we be honest with that? It's a pretty bad design for a toilet.
Oh, it's the worst design for the toilet, Steven. Why would you suspend a toilet? Why challenge yourself? Like, why challenge us like
now
that?
we're in the 2x4, we're in the studs. These bolts are this thick. We're going to elevate it and defy gravity.
Why do it? Like, every other toilet you ever go on, like every other toilet you use in your life, is just on the ground. They even have little legs and feet sometimes, like they just look like they're perfect. You can't do anything to that. You can stand on it. It'll be fine in most cases. Not so much in this case. In this case, I went to go use that stall, and the toilet is on the floor, and it's just. I thought, no water spewing everywhere, but just awkwardly, completely devastated, as if someone went in there and elbow dropped it, Stephen. Like someone, like it owed someone money.
I'm just imagining like landfill, like from Beer Fest is in there, and they're just like, "Hey man, you excited for the comic convention?" He just goes, "Goddamn comic convention!" and just breaks the toilet. Like what? Or someone had an anime monologue and they like pounced on top of it, and they're like, "The city calls to me. I'm going to be and just like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here. Like Steven, as much fun as I had, and I had so much fun. Like my favorite thing about the conventions, because like it's great to sell the books, and it's great to know that people are like interested and care, and it's incredible to like be around people and kind of network and meet new people, and all these things are really really great. But really, Steven, what I love is that we'll sit there, and there's always a time where we're like, there aren't that many people talking to us. Let's just talk to each other and forget that we're at
cry.
And I just cry laughing every single time. And I was just like, it's so funny. And I just
Rebecca got to hear about Uncle Jason.
So. That was so funny. But dude, like as much fun as like we had, and like crying, laughing, and talking to Rebecca, and like getting to hang out with Edwin, as much fun as we had, I would give anything to be able to just like when I die, I want to see a big screen in a movie theater, and instead of watching my life, I'm gonna watch the life of whoever broke that toilet in that moment and what happened. Because like I know it was probably just like, oh no, oh god, like,
he felt that porcelain. He felt that porcelain give a little.
Yeah,
there was.
But I just want to know, like the escape is what I need to know. Like I want to see like the dun 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 dun, because there's no way he told anyone. There's no way, and I know he didn't tell anyone because there were no, like it wasn't even closed. The door wasn't even closed in the stall. It was wide open.
He hears someone come in as it happens. Like, why is the toilet broken?
Oh my gosh, a ghost broke this toilet.
I locked this door behind. I came in it, and then I turned around. The toilet was
like
broken.
Someone became a werewolf in that stall. This is what it looked like.
Let's very much. Let's hope that they are an uncircumcised werewolf.
Okay, that leads us into perfect segue, Stephen. Let's get into a very quick one question monster test. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Stephen and I, we have little segments in our shows that we do every once in a while, and we like to get together and we talk about monsters and creatures and things that go bump in the night, and we ask questions about them. Sometimes we're trying to really get to the bottom of what a creature is and what a character means to us or to people, and in general. This time, Stephen, you posed a question, and we have to break it down for the people scientifically. So we're going to do our segment. It's called Monster Test. And Stephen, will you hit us with that sweet, sweet Monster Test intro?
So you closed your glove box, the confessions are away, and you got no more questions from the colony. And now you've already pitched a few things, leaving all your friends in stitches. But there is one more thing left. It's the motherfucking monster test. I was gonna get it out. I saw your brain predict read what was happening, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna be able to say it." But yes, it's the
I was
monster.
I was waiting for it, but I was just like, oh man, these are getting like more elaborate. Like they used to be like short and punchy, like here we go, it's the monster test, gonna put them to the test. At least it just be like quick little things, and now it's just like this like slow meandering, like beautiful. You're creating
Elegant, angelic, Michael
art.
Bolton-esque, if you
Really
will.
is, Stephen. I appreciate it. So let's get into it, Stephen. You asked a very important question. It's a hard hitting question. It's gonna just like really cut to the core of us, and I need you to get it out there to the people. So what are we talking
Well,
about?
just to catch the people up, we've already had to discuss werewolves once in this in a kind of way like this because dogs have 6 to 8 nipples.
That's right.
Humans have 2.
Yep.
We've decided that werewolves definitely have 6 to 8 nipples.
Have
So,
to.
anyways, like what happens? Because I get it. I've heard that werewolves heal when they shift this and that, but this is a dude who's been circumcised since he was born,
Steven, you have to ask the question. Tell them what we're talking about. Let's give some context, then build on the circumcision. Like,
all right.
See, what you did is you cut off the tip and you got right into the meat of the
because
thing.
I know this dick is showing. But like what I'm saying is if a werewolf is circumcised as a man, is it just constant red rocket? Because on a dog, the lack of circumcision allows them to have that little red rocket sheath, if you will. Mm-hmm. So if a man shifts into a werewolf, there's no red rocket sheath. So it's just a weird red dog penis that should be hanging out. It shouldn't even be a man penis. That's the thing, right?
Okay. I'll tell you. Okay, I hear you. I understand this logic. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Really, though, I think that a human doesn't have werewolf claws or werewolf ears or werewolf teeth.
Ooh.
And I think that in the transformation, you gain various werewolf parts. And I feel like naturally, whatever would happen there would be as much as you would grow nipples, probably would grow skin to protect.
But I pose to you, if the man is missing a finger, does he gain a claw where that finger is missing? Like, let's say this.
I'm going to say no. I don't think so.
If the man is okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I see what you're saying though, but I think that I see what you're saying. That's interesting. It's a good point, Stephen. But I think that it's more like I think it's more akin to forming of the body than it is growing of a limb, because I think like the way we're getting way too scientific here, but like let's actually talk about this.
The way the phallus would form.
that's what I'm imagining is like the pelvic region would change altogether, and I think in doing that, like the musculature would change and kind of shift inward in a way that, because we are formed differently than dogs, so I think that there would be like a shift, even if it isn't actual like actual foreskin. I think that there would be kind of a coverage in both hair and just like just I
just had this image cut away where like I become a werewolf and like just to prove you wrong, like I completely shave that in werewolf consciousness, just completely clean and like make sure that it's like that. Like, look, here's a red rocket.
Look at my red rocket.
Look at it. This is weird, Steven. We are crossing territories that we should.
It is interesting though, because like, yeah, I mean, you make a great argument with the finger, like thinking about that, but I don't know. I don't like it's.
So my thought process is in some werewolf movies I've seen, this is literally how my mind even thought of it, because circumcision leaves like
Right.
like obviously scarring where the foreskin was. It's not noticeable because we've lived with it, but like there is scarring. So it makes me think like whenever there's like someone that has like an eye scar as a human in a werewolf movie,
Right.
the werewolf form's always got the scar too. So
Right.
my thought was
There would still
it would
be.
display the human scars, and that
Right.
would be one of them,
Yeah. I mean, they could just be hanging werewolf dong. That's for sure. I mean, that's it, like, and not to mention, I don't know. I don't know how Red Rocket like it looks, and not. That's another thing, Steven. They're anthropomorphic. They are like
Mm.
they're large, but if their anatomy is similar to a dog, there's still a difference that isn't just simply circumcision. Like you can like the dog, it's like it has like a Wolverine claw situation with its
Mhm.
with its member.
Yes.
You know
So
what I
do we
mean?
gain a barb?
Yeah. Do you get? Oh my God, Steven. It's just a weaponized Red Rocket.
Just
What have you done to us?
it's the biggest werewolf rocket with a
Steven,
barb.
this used to be a show with no class, and I feel like we really just like bumped it up a notch.
We're like
Like
we're basically like sipping wine and wait, we're going the opposite way, right? We've
no,
got
we're
like
going up, baby.
no.
This
Oh,
is
yeah,
high
okay.
society.
So grab our monocles, grab the top hat,
And take
Pasco, collect.
real good close look at those werewolf songs.
I say that's a nice dong.
Steven, in the future Anthony and Steven need to get top hats and monocles. So when we do have these, and they're gonna come up, we're gonna talk like last episode. We talked about some like blue material. We talked about like in this episode we're talking about some it happens. We talk about like animal anatomy and gross silly stuff, and I love that, and I like that we can go from place to place. But I do think we need top hats and monocles for when we recognize it. We're like, okay, wait, let's like we're getting into this. Yeah,
Dude, that should be how we cap any segment where we talk about an animal's genitalia. We determine whether it's a nice dong or not. Like, if it gets the I say that's a nice dong, then it's approved. Like the echidna has a I'd say that's a nice dong. Maybe not.
No.
That dong is wild.
Okay. Previously, and we have issues. We looked up the echidna's anatomy. Don't do it.
It can high five you.
It shouldn't, and I don't want it to. Okay, speaking of dark places, Stephen, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so I feel like as far as the werewolf anatomy is concerned, it can really go either way here. Like I feel like it can go either way. I like your argument with the regeneration / lack thereof of regeneration. Although I do wonder about. I mean, it doesn't matter. But like it's interesting. Like you make a good point. And I do like I see now why most Wolfman wear jean shorts. Like I said, or like pants. I see
even in Twilight, for some reason, like Jacob takes everything off but his boxers, and then when he shifts back into a man, he's got boxers on, even though the wolf was not wearing boxers.
No. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
I want my Jacob dong. No, I'm just kidding. Team Jacob's dong. No,
Jacob's dong.
Not even. So wait, like you're on the Wolfpack side? No. You're completely misunderstanding. This has nothing to do with Bella or Edward or the stupid Cullens. This is just about me seeing some wolf dong. What do you? It's always been. Why do you think I've come all this way?
So now that we got to the bottom of Jacob's dong, Stephen, I just want to ask you. I mean, I feel like I've been like emotionally in a better place lately. But I think so. I'll tell you something that's been happening to me lately, right? Like I've been like personally in a better place lately, but when I see things on social media, I like respond internally. Like I don't say anything to them, but like internally my responses have been like sharper than usual. I'm just like like less tolerant of certain behaviors, or I'm just like, oh God, like I'm so sick of this thing that people do, and I just like things that like little things that grind your gears throughout the day, and you're just like, ooh, I don't want to do this, and I every once in a while I find myself in a place where I'm just like, it's like the Farnsworth of it all, where it's like I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Like I get to that place, and I'm just like, crap. And I one that kind of got to me recently, like yesterday. was someone I like one of my friends on Twitter posted a thing where he was saying that he posted up someone made a joke about like and like they were saying like, oh, I'm having a bad day or whatever, like I might as well throw myself in front of this train or something like that. Like they made a joke about ending their life like because they were going through a dark time and they were trying to like lighten it up, you know. And he was like, never do this or I'll block you and all this. And I was just like, I don't know. I feel so conflicted about this, you know, because like I'll tell you, like, and I know I use my I statements in these moments, but like I've gone through it. Like I've been in those dark places where like I have thought about those things, you know, and it's
Mm-hmm.
more than once in my life, you know, and like I definitely benefit and like you know I see the other side of it through making dumb jokes about myself, not about other people or making comments
Mm-hmm.
toward other people or about life in general for people, but just to myself, like for you know, just like I make jokes. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get through this, or I make like you know, like silly things. I made like a flip book. I once made a flip book of a guy like taking like a big gallows thing out of a box and it grabs him and flips him up by his neck and throws him and like but that helped me get through that. And then it's like, you know, by like through being silly about it, I was just like, okay, I'm able to laugh myself and not take this moment too seriously. I can kind of like not swallow the quicksand as much as I'm throwing it out of my own face, you know, in a way. So it's like I benefit from being lighter in those moments, even with darker material, you know, or like darker
Mm-hmm.
subjects. But like like I appreciate and I respect the intention because I know what he's really saying is like, hey, other people see this and reminds them of their darkness or and like you know like this can hurt other people with you know trauma and such. And I just like I personally struggle with knowing what to do in that situation because I'm like, yeah, of course I don't want to hurt anyone, but I also need this to get through it myself. So like I think the best thing to do is just everyone recognize, hey, we're gonna try our best to never hurt each other and like do what we can in these moments. And if whatever I'm saying isn't good for your you know benefit or you know doesn't help you through your struggles, then you know just block me or like you know just never look at me and
Mm-hmm.
I won't look at you and we'll just you know
It is hard for me to like attach responsibility in those types of moments. Like
yeah
I understand the thought, and it is a wholesome thought to be
of course
like a stalwart defender of someone that's like maybe can't make a good choice in that moment and see that and feel a certain way. I
right
get that. But on the same token, like I feel like in that specific example too, where you like, man, life is tough. I
yeah
just want to do this to myself. I feel like there's a line, right? Like I feel like I just want to, and if you say something that's very descriptive in terms of something that's a common way to do it, like
right
whether that's, taking something or do, whatever, that might be, I can see, but like being ridiculous with said death, like I think that's the line, right? Like, because like if you're like, I just want to jump into a vat of poison right now,
right
like
and
how can you
yeah,
like
well, and regardless,
it's still the same thing, but it's I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, and well, I feel like we need like we lose sight of intention, and I think that that's the most important thing, and I think that there's sort of a presumption of intention that happens with people where it's like you know we allow you know we start to define you know what other people's intention is rather than asking you know or just like just dismissing altogether you know and like sometimes we do that for good reasons where we're like hey I want to make sure this person's okay. They seem like they're in a dark place or whatever. And you know, if you ask, that's one thing, you know. But dude, like I've been in a place right where I was making, I made jokes like that, especially after like you know, Atlas's mom and I broke up, and I was like in a really dark place for a while. I was like, you know, I was trying to like get myself through it, right? And I'm like, and I was literally making jokes. I wasn't just saying specifically like I'm going to do this or you know, and I understand sometimes it can be alarming to people, but so I'm doing this, and rather than asking if I'm okay or saying like, "Hey, are you? I'm worried about you. Like, I want to make sure that these comments aren't actually indicative of something else." I had family members like message me and say, "Stop doing that. Like, stop saying what you're saying." And I was like, I was like, "Well, I'm making jokes about something that I'm going through right now, and it's making me feel better. And you're just telling me to stop right now, you know? So it's
with
like,
no love attached to it either.
yeah.
You know,
And it was,
that's even
and,
worse.
and really what they were doing is basically saying like, hey, what you're doing is making me feel bad because I don't like seeing people suffer, and which is good, which I appreciate. No one should want to, no one should be like, oh, that person's sad, I'm happy now, you know, like that would be terrible. But at the same time, and I, you know, like I basically said to them at the time, like, I'm here writing a like satirical funny Yelp review about how this like quicksand tastes in my mouth as I'm trying to not drown in it, you know. And I was like, you know, like 1 star, you know, like would, you know,
This is
like
would not
would not
recommend.
recommend, like a little too salty for my taste, you know. Like I'm trying to make silly jokes about like this, like, look, I am trying to get out of this, but yeah, it sucks. I do, like, I am miserable right now. I am going through something right now. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not, because other people are going through stuff right now, and as much as you don't want to hear it, the other people might need to hear it. So like, we need to stop doing this, because you don't know what people are going through, and you don't know who's going to relate to those struggles, you know. And like your quicksand might not be the same as someone else's, and your boat might be able to withstand the waves that someone else would be crashed and, you know, destroyed by. You don't know, so you need to just shut up and let people experience what they're experiencing, and try to help if you can. And otherwise, but like I don't, I personally struggle with seeing people try to stop other people from expressing what they're, you know, going through, if it's helping them, you know. And not deliberately or directly hurting anyone who isn't choosing to, you know, consume that thing, you know. It's like, it's it's a struggle for me. And I'm, you know, because I'm like, I get to a place on social media where I'm like, I don't know who, like, I don't know what to respond to. I don't, like, it seems like there's so many, like, so many trolls and so many people just like looking to be mad. And I see my friends who are well intended, who are just like commenting on these trolls and these different accounts, trying to like argue with them and stuff, but they're just trolls. Like, they're literal, they're trolls. Like, I imagine, like, if it's a fantasy, like if we're playing D&D and, you know, we're going on adventures, and I'm like, all right, we're on our various quests, and I look at my friend and I'm like, oh, you're still fighting that drunk troll in the tavern who just said like something dumb. Why? Like, there's a whole,
Let the troll watch.
yeah. And that's, you know, and like, but for me, I don't know. So I'm just like, I don't know what the right thing is to do in those moments. So I try my best to navigate it and just get through it. And I don't, I like, I find myself kind of stifled by those things, because I'm like, okay, you don't want to hear those jokes, but sometimes I'm going to say those jokes. And like, sometimes I'm going to say those things. Sometimes I'm going, and yeah, I'm not going to say that it's always the best thing to do, but sometimes it's the only thing I can do in a moment. And the same thing for other people. They do what they can do in those various moments to not swallow the freaking quicksand. And if you're telling them to keep their mouths shut, when they're gasping for air, it's not good or helpful, and I can't agree with it, and I don't appreciate it, and I did like, but I also don't know how to navigate that, so I end up not interacting on social media. Like, I end up just backing off. Yeah, I shut down, because I'm just like, I'd rather just, you know, like, read comics and like hang out and like just, you know, focus on just oh, I'll just hang out with my son for another 5 minutes instead of, you know, being on Twitter today, you know. And it's just, but I don't know, dude, because I want to grow on social media, but like, it also is exhausting to me sometimes, you know. And I don't think it's exhausting because of anything I'm doing. It's literally like the nature of the thing is controversy, or is, you know, attention, you know. And since it's like whatever gets the most attention or gets the most eyes is going to be shown to you the most, and that unfortunately is fear and controversy and, you know, like argumentative, you know, nonsense. And it's just like, that's my least favorite part of all of it, you know. Like,
Mhm.
I, you know. And
Because really too, it's crazy. Like when you swipe through a feed, you're gonna see so many great things, so many wonderful things, so many sad things, whatever. But like
yeah,
what's amazing to me is like you never would encounter the level of social chaos that happens within a few swipes on a social media platform. Then you would never encounter that in real life,
no, it's,
even
you
on
wouldn't,
your worst day. You know what I'm
you know
saying?
what,
Like,
it is, dude. Social media turns us all into the worst kind of mutant. Like, we all become the person who can't stop themselves from being inside of Cerebro. Like, we are, We think about it. We're all Professor X. We're in Cerebro, just hearing all of the voices in the whole world all at once. We see someone's worst day and someone's best day, and someone's birthday, and the day someone's dad dies, and someone, it's like it's insane, and it's all one thumb swipe, and we can't get out of it, and we're stuck, and we don't have anyone like, hey, here's how to make this Cerebro algorithm work, and it's just always there like that. And sometimes we can focus and be like, hey, I'm in my little like writer bubble, and like we're just like only show me mutants.
I want to see Juggernaut's dong. No, I'm just kidding.
The Juggernauts.
Oh, he keeps his helmet on in the shower.
I mean,
I don't want Professor X to read my thoughts.
Not in the shower, not those shower thoughts. Shower. I like to
the thoughts are getting up from underneath. They're getting up from underneath.
I mean, he could really like that thing's like a bird bath on his head, right?
It is, yeah.
I like he could probably. I bet it has a little nozzle in the back that we can't see. He just hooks a hose up to it. It just fills up, shakes his head around, Juggernaut shower. All right, I don't know, dude. I just like
I feel that though. I don't like to cite specific examples, but I see that type of stuff because like it's the kind of similar. There's a lot of that grandstanding like that sometimes, and it's just even at the worst too, let the person that's going to encounter that and actually personally be offended from that talk to you on the side and message you or message that person. That way, those two people that are feeling the same way can have a conversation. I don't know. I've always thought that was strange too, where you just speak for somebody that you aren't too.
Yeah. It's so much on social media is like well-intended but unnecessary, and I know none of it's necessary, but it's just like it's interesting how so much of what we see on social media are interactions that should have taken place directly with other people. You know what I mean? Like it's like so often it's just someone will post something where it's like they should have been commenting on a post to a person. So it's essentially like subtweeting instead of just directly having a conversation with the person, engaging with a person. And it's just like, I don't know. Like it's just, I know that's just part of it. It's all just part of it. And like there are just so many limbs on this so many heads on this like social media hydra that I don't like, that I wish I could cut off, but I can't because that's the nature of it. And it's like a hydra, And so like, I don't know what to do. And I guess the answer is just keep focusing on what works, and like keep trying to take those breaths and not keep my mouth shut, which is like, tough, it's hard because people are always just like, be yourself. And it's like, yeah, but if that's not going to make everyone happy, then you like, what do I do? Because like if the whole point is like, hey, don't do this because it doesn't make these people happy, I'm like, well, if I can never please everyone, and if it's impossible to please everyone, am I allowed to please anyone, even myself, or do I just shut up? Is that it? Or only you're only allowed to speak if everyone's going to benefit from the thing you have to say? Because that's not true, And then what ends up happening because of that is the majority of people get silenced, and then the only people with the loudest voices are the people who are speaking just the most obnoxiously. Then you end up with like the Elon Musks and the Joe Rogans and the people on there, instead of
crypto bros,
like instead of just like, hey, like, can we just all have our individual voices and like it's okay, and then we'll connect? Because I feel like okay, like what he said was, sometimes people are doing this for attention, and it was like, I think that and that's probably true. I'm sure that's true for a lot of people. That's what social media is. A lot of time we do things for attention, but sometimes what it is just people looking for connection at all, connection, like not like connection, validation. We want to know that there are other people going through what we're going through, not just to feel a little less alone, but to also know that we can survive it because other people are surviving it, and like we see, like it's just a myriad of reasons that it's good to connect and get things out, even though it's not necessary. We're just saying things in hopes of connecting, and sometimes the connection is dark, and sometimes it's weird, but sometimes you need to know there's someone else in that freaking weird dark, I know I do, and I guess that's my whole point, is I like knowing that there are other people in the weird dark.
I mean, in the most basic human way, and I know we view this kind of dialogue as pointless, but like in the most basic human way, like why do you think we ask what someone thinks of the weather or what about crazy weather out there? It's because we're looking even in its most like simple state, we're looking for some sort of interaction in a moment. And for some people, that interaction can be like, like on social media, can be like asking how the weather is, or it can be struggling with depression, and this is how you convey that. I mean, it could be a
Yeah.
thousand
How's
people
your
can be,
emotional weather?
yeah,
It's yeah.
it's
You
not
should carry
doing
an
well.
umbrella
Yeah,
today because it's
exactly. Like
gonna be
it's
raining.
it's just the way, and like think about even like I was even thinking about like the holidays. Say like
Mhm.
I think people love the holidays because it gives them something to talk about, so they can engage with random strangers, because people just want to be able to like express and be heard. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like so
yeah, I
like
mean, yeah, dude, it's true. I mean, there's so many reasons that we want to interact. I mean, we're social creatures, whether we want to be or not. Like, I always see myself as more of an introvert because after the convention, I go home and I'm just like, I'm so glad that's over. There's a part of me where I'm just like, I just don't want to be around people anymore, and like I can be around like you and Tina for days and be okay, but then it's just
mhm.
like if like other people, I'm just like I start feeling that like more and more. I'm just like, okay, I need my time. I need me, like time for me. But that being said, I still need this. I still need like
Mhm.
there are times where I'm just like, okay, yeah, I need to feel. I mean, that's like part of why I feel the need to date. And, like I'm just like, oh, I want to find my person who I can like relate to and connect with and, like be in that weird dark with sometimes and know that there's a light elsewhere. And, like you get through these things together and know that you're not alone and that, it doesn't have to be the end and that there is hope, when you can't figure out a way to get through something, by sheer will or, whatever it may be in the cleanest way possible. Yeah, sometimes we're messy and weird and dirty. And I kind of like it. I don't
Mhm.
want to be a Borg, and like, and then, yeah, I don't want anyone to suffer. I don't want to suffer, but I do like the fact that like when I am suffering, I can turn to people and just be my weird self. And
Mhm.
most, a lot of people are going to be there for me saying like, hey, I can tell that you're going through this like crap time, but like I'm your friend and I still love you, and like that's cool, and I like that. And I hope people can like hear us talking about our stuff and feel that and like relate to us in that way and not feel like I don't know. I never want anyone to feel like we're trying to shut them up or they're not let them share their stories just because it's inconvenient or dirty or or
Mhm.
whatever.
Never.
Speaking of speaking of dark, weird, dirty, inconvenient, imperfect monstrosities of existence, Stephen, I want you to tell me what Mac and Me is about in your head.
What?
What is Mac and Me, Steven? Tell me.
Oh,
This is our segment called Steven Explains a Movie That He's Never Seen.
I've never seen Mac and Me, but I do have like this like very 90s visual in my head with this weird puppet looking thing.
Mhm.
And my brain is remembering it kind of looking like, I don't know, like its eyes are kind of like from like the Mega Man universe,
Okay.
like the circular eye bot,
Oh,
like
I see it. I see it.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. And then but the more I think about it, I do think it is organic, right? I think it's like a creature of some sort, right? It's like a
Okay.
brownish creature, maybe.
Hmm.
But like for some reason, my brain is imagining a robot. Mac
Okay.
and Me's a robot, so it's like a Bigfoot
But it's
robot.
like a Mac, like an Apple computer. It's like the Mac at Mac and Me,
Little, but
like
like,
Macintosh and Me.
but like, if Mac was made in like the year, you know, 1.6 million BCE, like it's
Right.
just it's like primitive, but that's how I'm remembering Mac.
Steven, Mac and Me is about an alien family that gets like space hoovered from their planet and brought to Earth inexplicably, and they all look very phallic, and they all have like skin that looks a little similar to mine, like just that light, very very pasty, like human, like just white dude human skin. And
We
Steven,
call that code. You live in Florida? Because it's so it doesn't make any
it doesn't
sense.
make any sense. I don't leave my house much. No, but dude, they all have like blow up doll faces and they don't move. Like there is no expression to their faces throughout the whole movie.
Are we on this?
They, Steven, these aliens look like demons. They look like emaciated.
Oh my god!
that they look like emaciated demons that you would pay 25 cents a day to feed if they were brought to our country. Like they look,
This is
Steven.
gonna haunt my dreams.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better. The movie,
It's like if Schmiegel like stuffed his face with like if Schmiegel and like a hamster
yeah,
merged together and like he
yeah,
was hoarding food in his cheeks. That's what I'm looking at right now.
yeah. It's like okay, you know what they reminded me of? They reminded me of the doofus gremlin. You know the doofus gremlin? He has like the
I'm
god.
guessing in Gremlins 2, or is it the first one?
I think he's in both.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, dude, no, it's yes.
he's in the second one though. You see like the yeah, because
Yes.
he gets killed in the kitchen by the mom, I think. But
Yeah.
dude, you see what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
I see exactly what someone back then loved that look for
Yeah,
some reason.
for sure. They were like, oh, this is my thing. It was someone's kink. I don't know mine.
I need me some puffy cheeks with some really sunken but large eyes. It's like
Just nailing it, dude. But that movie, I wish you would watch that movie because like it is absurd. It is insane. Like the whole movie is ridiculous. There is a like 5 minute musical like McDonald's commercial in the middle of it. The whole movie is like a Coke commercial and a McDonald's commercial with blow up doll.
throw some aliens. Don't spend too much on those special effects, but please make sure that McDonald's commercial is fucking fire.
Oh, dude,
We're
so
gonna
funny.
sell so many cheeseburgers.
Dude, I don't. It's so fun, and like instead of like in ET, he ate the Reese's Pieces. Instead of they're like, oh, we're gonna do Skittles this time. This alien, he's gonna love Skittles. It's so weird. It's so weird that it exists, Steven. It makes there's a scene. I mean, everyone watching this who got this far probably knows that there's Paul Rudd will go on like Conan O'Brien. And he'll show like the same scene from Mac and Me over and over, and it's a kid in a wheelchair flying down a hill and just flying like it just soaring through the sky and falling in the water, and it's so absurd and so funny, and I can't believe it exists. And dude, I watched that movie as a kid. I forgot like that it was a real movie. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those movies where it's just like I have like a few scenes in my head, but like I don't know, I'll never watch that again.
Your brain was like Mac and Me stored, and then Mars Attacks came. I was like, better version of Mac and Me
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
It's extremely superior version of Mac and Me overwriting.
I hope my brain does that with everything from now on, because like I think I now want to forget Mac and Me but can't. I still see those faces when I close my eyes, Steven. I can't get rid of it. But what it did teach me though is that I can make a movie. If that can be a movie, I can make a movie, Steven. I like that. I don't like putting down other people's art, but I do like being inspired by other people's art, which I am. And I am very inspired by
Just cuts the director. McDonald's paid me so much to make that movie. It's wild.
So for everyone watching this, next week we're going to do our second ever live show. We're going to try our best to do a live script reading of our scripts or our movie Stakeout, and I hope it's a good time. It's going to be a weird time, that's for sure. And I hope you all show up because it's going to be silly and fun. And that's going to be our episode for next week. It's going to be a live show on Wednesday night, just like we usually release on Wednesdays. So it's going to be Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So join us then. Make sure you hit the bell and everything below, and it'll like notify
You'll be alerted to a liveness.
That's right. But we hope you'll join us. Steven, is there anything else you want to say to people before we get out of here?
Once again, like, thank you all so much. I've got to see so many of you like show your pictures of getting your comics, and it makes me happy. It makes me so happy to see you get to read them finally, because I know you have seen some of my artwork, but Anthony deserves so much credit for like the amazing story and hilarious dialogue that he writes in both issues of Deathless. So please continue to read everything that's coming out to you all, because we greatly appreciate it. It feeds our fuel to start to really push on issue 3. So
it's true. It has been really cool to see these posts. Like, and people are making like little videos of themselves opening up all the stuff, and it's just I love it. I feel like we have this community, and it's it really is showing up for us, and I love it. I'm so thankful for all of you. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I know it's been a weird episode, but I'm glad you always stick around with us. We love you, and we're so thankful for you, and we hope you'll join us for our live show next week. Steven, are you excited about it?
I am. I love live shows. It's fun to interact with people like in real time.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I always get nervous about it, but then like I feel like I don't know, like 10 minutes in, I usually feel better. Like I usually forget that it's live, and we just kind of like are in it, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun. So I hope everyone joins us. But otherwise, we love you. We're thankful for you. Please make sure you tell all your friends and everyone you know to subscribe to our podcast and share it with everyone you can. Please. We really, we appreciate it. But anyway, I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next time.
Boom!
Sounds like a good
delicious
story, though. Yeah.
Delicious sushi. That's hard to say.
Delicious sushi. I have to pause, or else I can't.
You have to pause. It's not going to happen. Delicious sushi.
Delicious sushi. So,
delicious sushi. That's what you call it. Delicious sushi, and that's delicious sushi combined. Delicious sushi.